It's a lot of nothing. It's a huge nothing burger. It really wants to be something. Let me make sure this time that there are no boogers. This time I was watching my playback and I can just see a booger hanging in my nose the entire time, the entire video. I keep instinctively reaching for my own nose while I'm watching the video because I keep thinking that I could save myself, somehow get that booger out of my face off the screen. But anyway, hey, we have done it. And once again, a nice smooth amount of under 6 hours. Just did a double feature. Hoppers first, and then I saw Undertone. And in my video before, I mentioned that I was the only person in the screening for Undertone. That changed. Well, that changed, and eventually people did show up for my screening. Please, come on. Okay, all right. As much as I want to not talk about driving stuff, ends up happening. I was terrified because I thought I was going to be in Undertone literally by myself, but luckily some people showed up. And the sad part is, real sad part, Undertone was not scary in the slightest. Really at all. I'll just get into it. I'll just get out of this parking garage first, but I will get into how Undertone wasn't scary. And then there's really not much there. Yikes. That's sad. As terrified as I was to go see it, it ended up being real tame. I don't even know if tame is even the best word to describe how unscary that movie was. Okay, part of me wants to be like, oh, this is a spoiler-free. Spoilers are, like, the synopsis is spoilers. From the trailers, what you get is that this girl, she's the podcast host, she's the skeptic. Out of 2 podcast hosts, she has this little podcast with her friend who does not, they don't do it in person, they do it over the phone. It's a ghost stories podcast, and she's the skeptic, and her friend Justin is the one who is prone to believe in ghost stories and things like that. He receives an anonymous email file that has 10 audio messages, like 10 audio files in it. It's mysterious, and they listen to it, and she's like, ooh, she's the skeptic, but of course she's gonna end up getting haunted by whatever this haunted audio file is. Yeah, that's really all that it is. That is genuinely it. They are hosts of this podcast. They get sent an anonymous email message with 10 audio files, and the audio files are haunted, quote unquote. They're not haunted. They are possessed by a demon or whatever, or they call a demon possession. Super basic stuff. Quite frankly, we don't even get to any of the scary stuff until the last 5 minutes, dead ass, and even then it's like, this isn't that scary. Let's just get right into it. We're gonna go straight for the spoilers, simply because I'm gonna chunk you through everything that happens. I'm gonna try to keep my little asides to a minimum while I explain what happens. So we have our podcast host, Evie. I swear I saw, her name is Evie Babbage, and they show like her program from her first communion. Hey, we gotta go though, And it has her full name on it, but I swear I saw the words Evelyn Angie Babbage, but then throughout the entire movie, she's referring to herself as like Evangeline Babbage. I personally, it was just me, or is this gonna be some twist about her mom had 2 of them, and this isn't the one that we think it is, and there was a twin who died in the womb? That was not the case. We're introduced to her, and basically in her life, you can tell her mom is kind of dying. She's not really on ventilators, but we hear from the dialogue that her mom hasn't eaten in a couple days. She's not really awake. She's basically, as they said about, which president did they say that about? Carter. As they said about Jimmy Carter, he's part-time in it. She's part-time in it. Her breathing is labored, and this is not great. You got a certain amount of time. Just be on the lookout for the death rattle, because her breathing is labored, so it's gonna only be a matter of time before organs start to collapse on each other and make it difficult for her lungs to continue doing the breathing functioning. You can tell she's just kind of cooped in there. Her boyfriend is non-committal, doing his own thing, white guy. Don't ever see him. We really, genuinely, one of the best things about this movie is that it's a bottle movie. All of it takes place in this house. It was super cheap to film because it literally is this girl, actress, and the actress playing her mom, who, mind you, again, like I said, part-timing it. So she is pretending to be almost dead the entire movie. What we're working with is just these two actresses, and one of them is pretending to be dead, and then we get a couple of voice performances. We get her friend Justin, who's the co-host of this podcast, as a fully vocal performance, as well as Darren, who is her boyfriend, we just hear him literally do like one phone call. And then the recording, also we hear their voices. But everything else is the actress playing Evie and the actress playing her mom. And I think that's going to contribute a little bit to it not being scary, but truly, genuinely, there are so many reasons why. It doesn't have good scares. It didn't have good scares to begin with. There's a lot of, you can tell it's Catholic guilt. The movie's haunted, these haunted audio files, whatever. Like, they kind of, like I said, it's a lot of nothing. It's a huge nothing burger. They listen to these audio files, start to hear this woman starts talking in her sleep, and then she starts sleepwalking, and she's saying these words, and the boyfriend or the husband or the baby daddy can't really make out what she's saying. Music keeps playing. It's like these children nursery rhyme songs, or Baba Black Sheep keeps playing on the record player, but it's playing backwards. I don't even know how you get a record player to do that. All of it is like just very classic demon possession kind of hauntings, classic The Conjuring kind of stuff. You know, we're getting it through the perspective of these like audio files, like, oh, we're listening, we want to listen for something extra, we want looping things and expanding the audio files, play it backwards, play it forwards. It really wants to be something. Movie really, you can tell, wants so badly to make some kind of fun out of this idea that there are a bunch of true crime podcasts, and there are all these different opportunities where people can listen to something that might scare them. We're like exploring horror and fear through this perspective. Well, it's like, I don't really feel like going through every single beat of these audio files, but basically what they find out, there's a demon named, it's not Azuya. I'm gonna stop now. There's a demon with a Z in their name. That demon likes to eat babies, very specifically haunts like pregnant women so that she can take their babies from them and cause them to have miscarriages and then eat the babies, I guess. And about, I don't know how deep into the movie, you figure out that our main character, Evie, is pregnant. And we know this man, Darren, her mom is dying. Her mom is like, nurses are coming in, they're like, any day now, hospice, dying. Her boyfriend is just like, babe, I'm throwing a party at the house. You've been cooped in there in your mom's house for weeks. Like, you should get out. We're gonna hang out and we're gonna do stuff. So you can tell he's just like absentee boyfriend number fucking one. And this is not what she needs. He's like, I'm trying to help you, but this is clearly for him. Obviously, you're not keeping that man's baby. Goes in for a pregnancy test and they call her and they're like, yeah, it's positive. He's like, I can refer you to an OBGYN. And she's like, I just want to explore my options. Clearly she's going to get an abortion. But also, clearly, her mom is very Catholic. You can tell, obviously, based on the pictures on the wall and the fact that she had, like, a first communion. Some of the saints, Catholic people, they don't just have Jesus on the wall. They'll have a cross with Jesus still on it. And then on top of that, they'll have depictions of different saints. Saint Mary, the Mother of God, and that's that one. They love that one. What's another one? Saint Rita. They like mention Saint Rita. These are all different like patron and matron saints of different elements of life. Catholics can't just pray to Jesus. They gotta pray to like side assistant, like a sub assistant whose specialty is that specific thing. You know, you can just tell, oh, okay, we're doing like Catholic guilt, the horror movie. A horror movie based around what it feels like to be a Catholic, but like not actively Catholic anymore. Your parents still really want you to participate in Catholicism, but Catholicism sucks. It's not fun. That kind of worship was never particularly fun to people. The people who still do it out of guilt, obligation to their parents. And I was thinking, like, when I first saw the trailer for this movie, it was on Instagram. So the reviews are like, oh, it's so scary. It's the scariest sounding film. You could see in the trailer, they had all of this, like, Catholic and religious iconography. And the only comment in the Instagram post was, is it scary for non-Christians too? And I like thought about that because it's funny. Something like The Exorcist, the idea of like a demon possession for people who are not Catholic, it's like, okay, you know, okay, whatever. But for people who are Catholic, it's like a big deal, especially in like the 1970s when The Exorcist came out. That's like, people were genuinely terrified seeing themselves in the theater out of fear, because things like hearing a little girl swear, seeing her head spin around, or seeing her vomit a pea soup. This was all things that, like, to a good Christian Catholic person in the 1970s was completely scandalous and terrifying. So you understand how that ends up being like the predominant depiction. Oh, I'm here already. 13 minutes. That's crazy. Literally not even the same one, like not the correct one that I was supposed to go to. Crazy to think of. Yeah, this is 35th. I'm just so far west. We're gonna figure it out. That that comment about, oh, is it scary for non-Christians too, got me thinking about that sort of thing, and like truly wondering, is this going to be the same kind of horror that people found so scary when it came to The Exorcist? And not really, but kinda. The answer is no, not necessarily, but a little bit. Like, it's, again, this isn't necessarily horror for Catholic people or even formerly Catholic people. It is horror for like an entirely different kind of person. And that person is not me. At the end of the day, like, what am I to do? Oh shit, okay, well, we're gonna keep on keeping on. Yeah, I know where I am now. That's crazy that I ended up all the way over here. Yeah, that's where I wanted to be. Beverly Hills, right? First, naturally, duh. Well, shit. Stop here and don't go a lick further. Undertone, man, I was like so worried. Like I said, it wasn't really scary if you're not Catholic, if you don't believe in Catholicism and demons and things, which, whatever, you know, I'm not Catholic, but I do understand it wasn't not scary because I'm not Christian. It just wasn't scary. It just plain old was not scary. And I was so terrified. Like, I spent so much time in the movie theater. I watched Hoppers first. I was in Hoppers, terrified. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna go have to see this scary movie next. I think I'm gonna be in there by myself. What am I gonna do? Blah, 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 blah. And, like, only for it to be tame, for it to be like baby stuff for real. I'm like, oh man, that was a waste of my fear. It was a waste. And I'm extremely disappointed. I'm not even gonna hold you. And I don't regret seeing the movie. I simply regret being so scared about it, because there was no reason for me to be so scared. In the end, she ends up, the demon low-key gets her. Like, I guess that's kind of what they listened to the whole all 10 files. Her mom died, but her mom low-key also got possessed by this demon who also wants to kill her. There's no resolution. They kind of just, you hear things, oh my god, mom, and you hear a shuffle, and you hear babies crying. Like, it cuts to black, and you hear all of these things. Like, you hear the end of the movie. And I think that was a cop-out. We don't know what happened. I guess she ended up dead, too. I guess. What is upsetting me is it's like her friend Justin, who's the co-host of this podcast, he didn't get haunted. Just because she happens to be a pregnant lady, she's getting haunted? That sucks. What does that have to... That's misogyny. Boo. That's misogyny. Boo. She doesn't deserve to get haunted just because she accidentally got pregnant with this douchebag's baby. Man. And it doesn't even really get into, like, the body horror of the idea of abortions. And there's a place to explore that. The way Carrie kind of explores the period, you could explore the abortion using horror, but this movie doesn't do that. And I know I can't hold a movie to the standard of what it should be instead of what it is, but it should be scary. How about that? The movie should be scary, and it wasn't. So, no, I want to give credit to the sound editors and the sound designers who did a really solid job of creating a soundscape that felt like we were with the character. What I want to give them credit for specific when it comes to the director, the editors, the sound editors, is when you are making a scary movie, it doesn't always hit the same way. When you see something for the first time, especially a scare or like a joke, it's something that really gets a strong reaction out of you. But if you see that exact same scare, that exact same joke a second time, it's not going to have nearly the same effect because you know it's coming, you've seen it before, you know how it goes down, you're not necessarily thrown off the way you were the first time. So I want to give them at least like this benefit of the fact that it is hard to edit together something that is actually scary when you know that you're editing, you know where the jumps are happening, where the scares are happening. So it's hard to say, is this actually scary? Like, it's hard to look back and go, yeah, this is actually scary, and say that with confidence because you've seen it a bunch of times. It can't ever be as effectively scary as it is to you, or to you. It can't ever be as effectively scary to you as it is to someone else when you're the one making the scare, one designing the entire thing. But that's just sort of some food for thought, I suppose, that designers, the people who are in charge of editing it together, like from a technical standpoint, they did a really good job. Everything there is super solid. It just doesn't come together the way that it needs to, simply just because it's hard to do. Like I said, this is a bottle movie. It is literally 2 actresses and 6 total performances. Right? 1, 2, the other couple, and then Justin and Darren. Yeah, it is 6 total people in the entire movie, or 6 actors. And 3 of them, or 4 of them, are never on screen. So you really got to give them the credit. They low-key probably made this on $500,000. They probably made it for very, very cheap, which is also why the scares aren't super effective. Like, that also kind of plays into that. You only have so much money for effects, for things that you want to pop out, how you want things to look, and you can tell that they put their money into the set design, into making sure that the space itself felt both lived in, but also weirdly sterile, like the person who lived there was dying, and no one else ever lived. No one lives there with them anymore. You can tell that that's kind of where they focused all of their energy. But when it came to actually like being scary and writing something that was going to have a grand effect, like a long-term overall effect, they just didn't have it. And sometimes things don't come together. Like, and I said this to my partner before I went in, like, oh, I'm so nervous, but at the same time, I want it to be scary, because if it's not scary, I'm gonna be disappointed. And I felt that exact same way when I went to see Weapons, because Barbarian was truly very scary to me. I regret not seeing Barbarian in the movie theater, honestly, because of like how much fun I had being scared. And so when I heard that the guy who did Barbarian was making another movie, I was like, this is going to be so scary. I'm so excited. Look, right? I went in that movie theater, again, looking forward to being scared. And at the end of the day, I was not scared at all. And I was extremely disappointed. And that is how this movie made me feel. And again, like, I really want to give credit where the credit is due to just the key head creative people. Like I said, the sound people. They had a great concept, did their best that they could, I think, executing it, but at the end, it just didn't all come together. It's like not a terrible thing. Every movie is somebody's favorite movie. Oh, and another thing about it, this girl is taking care of her mother who's on hospice, and for me, it felt very personal because I was just going through the very same thing with my dad, checking on him as he was dying. And quite frankly, like, the thing that stood out to me is I'm seeing this actress who is supposed to be wasting away. Oh, she hasn't eaten in days, and she's just asleep through the remainder, the entirety of this movie. She's just sleeping. And having seen my dad in that exact same situation, I'm like, this is clearly a living woman. Like, this is clearly not just a live woman, but like a healthy woman. This actress doesn't look nearly as dead as people do when they're that close to death. Like, that was a huge critique I had. Somebody get some makeup people in here to make this lady look more dead. Way too much fat in her face. It feels weird to get this deep into it. I don't need to get into it, but what I guess I want to say is that kind of stood out to me just simply because I was like, I've seen people in this situation before. This is not what it looks like. I'll give them their 10s. Anyway, now we'll go back to thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, recommend me to your friends, share, comment, all of those things. As a matter of fact, tell me, did you see Undertone? Did you like it? Were you scared? Were you not scared? Have you ever seen someone wasting away and like known that they only had a few days or however long to live? Tell me about that situation in the comments. When was the last time you saw a movie that did scare you? I would love to see one. Thank you. All right, bye.